Last week we had our inaugural draft guide on this channel during early access, covering our initial thoughts about Wilds of Eldraine. This week we dive deeper, with 4-star leading the way as we hunt another 7-win draft while we learn more about the complexity of pick orders.
Hello, everybody. 4-star here, friend of the MTG Rebellion and normal top 250 drafter on MTG Arena. Excited to get going on this new set. So we're ready to go.
Let's crack some packs. Alrighty. In the queue and waiting for the other 7. Let's do it.
Yep, these
Bam.
have been firing pretty fast today. So
yeah, that took no time at all. Okay. There's always one sitting on waiting. There's always one.
There is. All right, here we go.
Let's get this over here.
Okay, so first things first in these packs. So far in my draft experience, blue has not impressed me very much. A few of the rares are pretty powerful, but the common runs leave a lot to be desired. Black and red are always good. In our first draft we did, black and red were outstanding. Removal and going wide, it's very hard to catch up. So the first thing I'm looking at is this Sewer Witch up here, the uncommon. This card, if it resolves, is very powerful. It makes a wicked enchanted rat on its own, but it enchants all of your rats and turns them all into wicked 2/2s, which is extremely powerful. The only other card I'm really looking at in this pack is probably the Tower down there, just removal spell, but I'm probably leaning towards the Witch here, and we'll see where we can go from there.
Okay, so as far as this pack goes, we're really looking at red and black as having some decent options. You got the Two-Headed Hunter, you have Torch the Tower, you have Shatter as removal, and you have the Sewer Witch.
Correct. Yeah. But none of the white cards are really built around, so not where I want to start pack 1.
Fair.
So here's our first fork in the road, pack 2. The green rare here, the Huntsman Redemption, is extremely powerful. It does so many things. 3/3s for 3 are always good. You basically get to cash in your worst creature to Demonic Tutor for the best one in your deck, or a basic land if you're missing a color fixing. And then if you happen to draw this later in the game, you get maximum value out of the 3rd chapter, being able to pump up your team. But because we're already in black here, I'm probably slamming this black removal spell. It's probably my favorite removal spell in the format. It's just a clean exile. And if we happen to span into black-white, black-red, and have auras lying around, you get a valuable scry out of it as well.
Fair.
One minor note. Yep, go ahead.
Is Golgari any good in this set?
Golgari can be, but the problem is that a lot of your threats don't have trample, and you can get chumped forever, and they can eventually just fly over you or evade you or alpha strike back. So
Fair. It also signals us pretty heavily into black and signals our person to the left a little bit more into green.
Correct. Now here, the green uncommon here is very, very good. The disenchant effect on a 6/7 body is just extremely powerful. But again, it doesn't really have... It has pseudo evasion that it can't be chumped by small things. But black-red, because we're already on a rat theme, the Tattered Ratter makes all of your rats basically unblockable, or they trade up, which is very, very good. The only other option we've got is the Intangible Virtue off the bonus sheet. A lot of the bonus sheet cards are insane, and this makes your rats 2/2 vigilant. Vigilance is irrelevant because they don't block, but it pumps them up as well. So depending on which direction you want to go, I'm probably leaning towards black-red still, but black-white is also not terrible.
Fair enough. Well, we've got the Ratter right there. Let's see what happens. I am kind of curious.
Go down that road again.
Alrighty.
Okay. So bonus sheet, they do have some game-breaking cards. As Foretold is not one of them. Red-green, we're not in that realm right now. So we're looking at the Conceited Witch here. The Menace threat, it's very, very powerful just on the front end, being able to put a roll on something. And then later on, Menace, as we saw in our first Premier draft, Menace can just add up. Just remove a guy and sweep by. The Catapult is really more of a spell-based deck, or if you have, there's certain enchantments that let you draw cards when you deal non-combat damage, things of that sort. But that's not what we're looking at. So probably slamming the Witch and being happy with it.
Fair. I can see that being the case. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay.
There's my favorite one drop in the format besides the Ginger Brute, is the Spear Guard. This is exactly what our deck is wanting to do, a 1/1 Raging Goblin effect, but you can sack it for value, and it makes a rat when it dies. The Hopeless Nightmare is pretty good, but more in the black-white bargain deck than the rat deck. So Spear Guard, not even worried about it.
Now, do you see anything with Dutiful Griffin, for instance, where you're
The
like,
Griffin
maybe we go?
is a powerful card, but it really has to be black white, and you have to go really hard on the auras with the rolls. And a 4/4 flying is fine, but it can be destroyed on curve pretty well, and it's a big cost to sacrifice two things. It doesn't even come back to play, so you have to take a turn off to sack, take a turn to play it. So right here, the uncommon, probably not interested in that. The monstrosity is just a solid creature. In our first draft, we did have a lot of the adventures, the black-red ones, which are solid, but I'm not going to take one of those over a premier 2-drop in this format.
Yeah, and I mean, this just looks very decent. The ability we played
It is
against it. It was a problem for us, you know.
correct. Yes. Yep. It's the candy cane monster.
Yeah. Candy cane monster,
So,
indeed.
yeah.
Are we seeing any signals as we look at
Uh,
this?
at this point, it looks like the blue and white cards are just being picked up randomly, but the signpost green cards have not been taken. So outside of just being backdoor green, I'm not worried about it. Another ratter here is exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah, we're starting to get the pieces of this rat deck pulled together.
Correct. One of the big signals, if you were curious about that, is again with the bonus sheet. The bonus sheet can destroy games of Magic or just make your deck absolutely insane. Utopia Sprawl is one of those that was in a previous pack. That card is not fair in almost any format you play it in. But if that card is still in the pack, we can see that the green decks are not coming together. But here, an easy ratter. Oh, okay. This is extremely happy about that the rat catcher came back. This is a first pick in a lot of my drafts. It does everything. It slices, it dices, it makes rats, and it has first strike on your turn, and it's just a premier bear in the format. Exactly what our deck wants.
Fair. It looks like the curve's actually coming along pretty nicely as
The
well.
curve is coming together as well. These kind of decks get under so many of these bigger green decks, and even green black. A lot of your sweet spot is at 5. There's only a few signpost uncommons and rares at 4. Hey, and our two-headed wheel, which is just a solid curve topper. You could randomly sneak a game, giving something double strike. And like I said, a lot of these white cards, the spell there, the Archon's Glory, is very good, but the creatures that we've seen go by haven't been impressive so far.
Sure. Now, Ego Drain is, if we get the hardcore fairies build, this is excellent, but otherwise not at all.
Correct, yes. And the fairy deck, there's going to be a lot of people fighting over it early. So, really quick here, so we only have 20 seconds. Probably just taking the Merry Bards. It's a solid filler creature, but it's probably going to be the first on the chopping block once it goes. But you randomly can pump up a rat, and because of the young hero, it pumps all the way up, even when it's at 3 toughness. We learned this earlier. So you can make a 1/1 rat into a 4/4. So.
Oh, yeah, there's that.
Yep, solid. This guy's very annoying for our deck to play against, and I'm not above playing it myself. But again, this is going to be a cuttable card if we can afford to do so.
We're mostly color signaling at this point.
Correct. Yep. So yep. Take that and let somebody else mess with it as foretold. The 3/3 is playable. Compulsion is cool looking. So whatever you want to do. Yep. Season of Growth was not even there, so I don't think anyone was on it. Okay. Blind Obedience is one of the build-arounds that is extremely powerful. We're not necessarily in two-headed giant here, but it's still a great card. The black rare, if you want to hover over that really quick, we can look at the back half, which is what we're looking at. Basically a Lurgoyf in our deck. As big as the yards, but this is all graveyards, not just ours. So this thing can scale to a 5 to an 8 very, very quickly. Very solid card, and I'm very happy to have it in my deck. Fencing is a very good removal spell. I would love to wheel the Vermin at the bottom, but I'm going to take a Premier Critter over even the X removal spell, because our curve is so low that we're going to be flooding the board. And
Okay.
hopefully we can wheel some of the removal spells.
I was gonna say we're likely to get at least a Vermin, if not one of the two potential removal
Maybe one
spells,
of them,
right?
yeah. So, yep. Hoping for one of them. If not, a Catapult wouldn't be the worst card to play.
Fair.
Yeah. Oh my lord. There is one of my 10s of the format, the White Virtue. This, if you guys have played in previous sets, this is the Bant Ascendancy that basically pumps your entire board every turn and pumps them. Um, Man, this is really rough. Um, I don't think, because of our deck is being so harmonious right now, that I really want to jump into that. Double white is going to be a little rough, and we do have a premier removal spell in the Firebolt here. So as much as it pains me, don't do this if you can afford to do it, but we're already locked in on this deck, so I'm going to take the Firebolt and hope we don't lose to that card later.
And we don't.
Dark Tutelage could be a thing, but we do have a few 4s and 5s coming in, and I'm not really the biggest fan of that. Black-green can afford to play it with food, but probably not us. Okay, Candy Grapple is where my mind went first, but Raid Bombardment is something that can, in this kind of deck, is the signpost uncommon you're looking for. Raid Bombardment basically doubles the attack. You ping when you attack, and you can just flood the board 1/1s, and even if they suicide in and die, you still are dealing extra damage. But Candy Grapple is a premier removal spell. I'm almost never not going to take it. And hopefully no one else is looking for Raid Bombardment, so it might come back.
That's really where I'm at, is that Raid Bombardment is a very narrow but excellent card for us, and this is wide applicability across like 5 archetypes, so I'd rather take this. And then...
Yeah. There's zero chance the Grapple comes back. We've got maybe a 15% chance the Raid Bombardment comes back, and our deck doesn't need the Bombardment, but it needs a Grapple. So at this point, probably looking at another Spear Guard, just because of our rat synergies, makes the 1/1 into like Savannah Lions. So probably looking at another Spear Guard, and conveniently enough, it has haste. A lot of people forget that.
Fair. So, all right, let's grab that and move on. Candy Grapple.
Oh my lord! All right, another Grapple. It's nice when a plan comes together.
Right.
Nothing really else to look at here. Like I said, the fairy deck is wide open. The green-blue ramp guy is pretty good, but we are not even in that neighborhood. So.
Fair. Let's go ahead and move along then.
Okay. So at this point, the green uncommon there is signaling to me that the green deck is not really anywhere right now, that this card is outstanding in almost any green deck, and the fact that it's still there this late is amazing. As far as our deck goes, Dragon Mantle, probably not. Barrow Naughty, we're never going to turn on, so I'd probably take the Adventure Devil here, the 4/2. The Barrow Naughty is very good, but I'm not going to draft bad fairies to try and turn it on.
Fair.
Ratter number 3.
Or do we get the Spear Guard first?
I'm probably more interested in the bear with upside rather than the 1-drop. We're gonna have a lot of like generic rats running around to power up the ratters, so I'm probably all in on the ratter here no matter what. Mana Flare looks neat, but nope, not interested in that either.
I was gonna say, like, such a cool looking art piece for a card we're never gonna play.
No, we are all in on the Tatter Ratters. Vampiric Rites, probably not going to play it. The Cheeky House Mouse is very, very good. There's nothing else in this pack we're going to be taking. So in a normal draft, I would be hating that, but we could take the Vampiric Rites here just to have it. Vermin. Yay.
Done.
That is exactly what we wanted to happen. We can take the Tutelage because it looks neat, but I'm probably not interested in playing it.
So we still have a Fairies card,
Fairy
like a staple.
Is very good. And then the Witch Stalker is a staple in the red-green decks, being able to block early and then turn on. Take a Grotto, maybe if we crack something amazing in pack 3 to splash, but...
Yeah, that's probably where it's going to go.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move Grotto.
But our deck is 90% complete right now, and we've got 2 or 3 cuttable spots, so that card is very powerful. It's left alone, but there you go. Take a rare.
We'll just fill out that little rare sheet for ourselves.
Absolutely. Yep.
Gotta wait a moment. We have a few other players that are doing their thing.
So, yep. There's an outside chance we play a bear. It's a generic one, but I highly doubt it. We've got premier ones here. All right. That is not the rare we wanted. Unfortunately, yeah, nothing else in this pack really does anything for us. The blue rare is insane. The green uncommon runs are very good, but we're just taking a generic removal spell on 5. What is nice about Shadow the Oath is you can kill enchantments with it. So you can kill like Oblivion Rings. You can kill auras that are troublesome. You can do a lot of things with it. Yep. So just going to take a generic removal spell here. Not the best pack 3. Okay, so we're looking at Stab Wound. We got a lot of mileage out of last time, but the Stone Splitter Bolt is also very good, and we are going to have bargain rats all over the place. So the Bolt is the pick here. We can turn this on and kill a 10/10 if we wanted to in this deck.
That makes sense. Okay. I don't think the Stab Wound's going to table, but you never know.
You never know, and oh my, okay, all right, yep. This guy has a lot of words on him, but that's who we're going to take. So this guy he is the signpost for this deck. He makes rats. He has menace, and then you can sack guys to effectively mini reckless impulse. You can cast spells off the top of your deck. So that guy is outstanding.
And we're kind of hoping to just see this table if possible.
And there's 3 other cards that we could wheel, cut in. Probably won't, but the pack, the 3/3 is also good as well. But that rare is very, very good.
All right.
Okay, so here, for curve purposes, we're probably looking at another trainee. The Vermin can scale pretty big in the later game, but the trainee with our 3 Rat Tatters, probably in the market for that right now.
We've also had this table once. It could table again.
Oh, yeah.
You sure you don't want Food Fight at its 0.0 rating?
I'm pretty sure we don't. Yeah, no. Yeah. The blue red decks are also wanting the trainees as well. Okay. This card, I've always wanted to try in the rat deck, but I don't think so. Basically triples all of your spells, but we have a Vermin here, so let's be smart about it, and let's just take the Vermin.
This will wheel.
That card is insanely powerful if it ever sticks.
All right. Torch.
Okay, so we have Torch or Cut In. So if we look at a lot of our removal spells here, we have a lot of grapples that do 3. We have a Bolt that can scale. We have a 5-drop as well. The Shock is probably worth more because we can sack the Rat, and the Cut In is sorcery speed versus instant speed. So we're probably just going to still take the Shock, but it is worth looking at the Cut In.
Fair.
Edgewall Pack is probably the last card, so now we have cards that we can cut. That I'm more than happy playing those as well. At this point, these are all more or less garbage time picks, so cut off the red just because. Rat out, it's fine. We're not going to play it, but it's fine.
But it sure exists, right?
It 100% exists. Like I said, I'm never upset about playing one, but our deck is basically set. Never seen that guy go insane, but it could be, so I'd probably just take that out of the pack from people.
Hey.
Another pack? Okay.
It's a late-ass pack. We'll take it.
That is a very late pack, yeah, which means I think we successfully cut off people from staying in our deck because we really didn't get cut off at all.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's just not much we're going to...
Rare.
Yeah, I guess we're rare draft. Well, you know what, actually? Do we take the Griffin area because it's harder to get?
You can take the area away from someone as well. Yeah, like the food fight is worthless outside of it checks off your rare sheet. So, yeah.
All right. Well, we've only got like 4 cards to cut, and this deck looks really good. We can definitely get rid of that.
Yep, him. Yep, and the other 1/3 bear, if he's still in there, we'll get rid of him as well.
Alrighty.
All right, outstanding. All right, so just at first glance here, we're just going to be cutting the worst critters. So probably the Red Cat Thief. Goodbye. He's probably next on the cutting board. Not really the biggest fan of that. And one more cut here. The Witch, maybe?
Yeah, it might be the Witch. Let's check our analytics here. We have 17.
Count is still 17, yeah. And we also have a lot of things that generate rats. So If we want to keep our curve lower, we could cut the double striking 5/4. 5 is not really the sweet spot of our deck, and the witch could randomly get value early on, but that's really up for discussion.
And those are I mean, like the rest of this, we got a ton of removal. We've
Correct.
got a
Yeah.
lot of ways to make rats. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 big makes rats, like 2-for-1s right there, 2-for-1s right there.
The trainees.
That's going to be amazing with how many rats we have. The trainees are going to get, yeah, I mean, this
and
is...
the 2 spear guards, yep.
Yeah, this list looks like it's going to be just brutal. So I'm a fan of losing this one strictly because I like having this instant speed
Sure.
that just later comes. I don't know. It feels stronger to me. And we're
No
also
problem.
sticking to 17 land as opposed to going down to 16 and trying to really lower the curve, which is
Correct.
where I'd start looking at cutting at this. If this was like our only 5 drop, I think I would
Yeah.
push a little bit harder in that arena.
Yep, I agree. So,
Alrighty.
yeah, that looks pretty solid to me. This our first deck was probably a 5. I would say this is probably a 7 to an 8. So
Fair. All right, gang. We will see you on the other side of this. We're not going to waste your time with the gameplay. We will show you the results. So you're about to see it in 3, 2, 1. Alrighty. So we ended up at 5-3 with the deck. Did not feel like it was going to be a deck that went 5-3, but that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Let's take a look at what we have here. And Forrester, any final thoughts about how this draft went and where we could have improved?
Sure. As far as drafting the deck, no. Outside of opening one of the like bomb rares in the deck, like the Rat Fireball or anything like that, the deck was a solid 7 or 8. The losses themselves were literally to drawing 10 lands. We got White Crater Hoofed for exactly 21, and then the last game we got Titanic Growth out of nowhere, which, you know what, if your opponents are going to play Titanic Growth, you'll take those losses because you're going to win a lot more games than you'll lose like that. No, I mean, the deck felt very, very good. Sometimes you drew the wrong half of the curve, but ideally you'd like to have cheaper removal spells than 5s. But I like the deck a lot, and I would be happy drafting this deck every time. You're going to get to 6 or 7 wins 90% of your games. So.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, it felt like we got some variants that hit us right in the nuts, which it's not an excuse. That's just how these things happen. I mean, the Titanic Growth at the end when they had no cards in hand and are dead next turn and we have everything else like accounted for, that hurt my soul a little, but
yeah, a little bit.
Yep, that's how the cookie crumbles. So I mentioned earlier, Forrester will be covering draft guides with us for the duration of Wilds of Eldraine, so stay tuned next week as we delve a little bit deeper into this brand new set, and feel free to just click on over to check out our State of the Metas if you're craving a little constructed content from us. We will be putting out plenty of content over the course of this next few months, both constructed and limited, so stay tuned. And if you got questions, comment, like below. Make sure you do a little bit of that sharing, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.